This is Amplify You, the podcast about you discovering your message and broadcasting it to the world. If you're a coach, author, or speaker, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking for the best return on your time investment to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, we're giving you full access and behind the scenes look of how we're running our podcast, how our clients have found success, and what you can do to launch your podcast today. The world needs your message. I'm Michelle Abraham, the host. Join my family as we unleash your unique genius and find the connections you need to launch your adventure today. Join us and let's get amplified. Hello, Amplify You family. Michelle Abraham, your host here. Today, I am delighted to bring to you a very special guest for our Ask the Expert interview. Her name is Blaney Teal, and I had the pleasure of meeting Blaney a few months ago, and we've just had so many great things to chat about. I'm like, I have to bring her on Amplify You. So before I introduce her any further, I just want to say hi, Blaney. How are you?
Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. So let me tell you guys a little bit more about Blaney. So Blaney's a mother of two, a successful modern day mompreneur like myself. She's impacted the lives of countless entrepreneurs with her business and her own. And she is one of those multi-passionate entrepreneurs. So we call her the passionpreneur coach. So she's got lots of things going on, and she started her first business when she was 7 years old and has never looked back since then. So I love that. So you love helping entrepreneurs grow their business, and that's totally apparent from the first time you meet you, because I know I've seen you speak, I've seen you network, I've seen you in so many different places. You've got it going on. So right now you are the founder of Making Business Connections, which is a networking organization which is just expanded nationally, which is super exciting. And you're also a contributor to the Amazon bestselling book, One Habit for Entrepreneurs, which is a Guinness Book of World Records of the largest book on entrepreneurship. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then you have another book coming out called The Lunch Date, Why Skipping Lunch is Hazardous to Your Health, which I love that. And you have so many other great things going on, which we're going to dive into shortly. But I just wanted to give our audience a little bit more about who you are and what they can expect from you. So today we wanted to dive into all sorts of really cool things, especially like some tips on networking, because you're an expert at that. And then also there's some new things that you've been doing with helping events go online, because obviously the events that you guys used to run, were they all in person?
Yeah, we used to be 100% in person, holding, 20 events every single month, and can't do that right now.
Right. So what's that been like for your business this year?
So it's been a little bit challenging. Luckily for me, I'm very techie, right? So I was able to pivot really early on when things shut down. So we took things virtually, and now everybody's kind of jumped on that bandwagon, but you kind of have to. If you're going to survive today, whatever kind of business you have to get creative, and you got to think outside the box on how can I reach people virtually.
Right. And so networking virtually now versus like networking in person, are there some like major differences that like you should maybe give us some tips on? Because I know we've all just jumped into virtual networking, but like, do we really know? Are we doing it right?
So there's definitely some differences, and there's definitely advantages to virtual as well, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, you're saving the drive time. Mm-hmm. You might be saving money because you don't have to have coffee or dinner or lunch with somebody, right? But there's certainly a lot of like faux pas that I see people make. Mm-hmm. And, it's kind of funny when we're in an in-person networking event, it's totally cool to sit across from somebody at lunch and eat while you're having a conversation. Mm-hmm. But virtually, that really doesn't fly, guys. It really doesn't. You're looking right at that person and they're gobbling down food or sipping water or something's fine. But I see so many people come on these virtuals and like they used to sit and have lunch and it's perfectly fine. You're sitting there eating while the camera's on you. That's like a big no-no. If you're going to eat, like hide your camera for a couple of minutes and eat your food, because we all have to eat. But that's certainly a really big one. And then also people kind of get kind of lazy when it comes to virtual networking. They don't do their hair or their makeup or dress, or they're laying in bed or they're laying on their couch and look really relaxed, and it's like, wait a minute, this is still a business, right? Your first impressions are still important. So I think it's great that we can work from our bed or our couch, but it's also, you still have to keep that professionalism. So I
see don't make it look like you are.
Yeah, exactly. And you can, it's certainly okay to be on your couch, but if you're slumped back and, you kind of have your teeth t-shirt on. It's just, those first impressions still do matter. And, I get compliments all the time because of my background. It's not virtual, but it's who I am, right? My last name is Teal. I love the color teal. And I'll go in networking groups and immediately I'll get private messages going, love your background, love your lighting, love your camera. You look amazing. And so that makes me stand out, right? It makes people want to learn more about who I am and whether they want to work with me or not.
Yeah, speaking of which, you're putting my camera to shame right now. So what are you using? Just for all of our tech friends out there.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to cost a lot, honestly, to set up your virtual office. So I am using a Canon M50. It is actually one of the less expensive mirrorless cameras. And then I'm using the 22 millimeter pancake lens. So that helps blur that background. But again, that setup, I bought that in March, right as soon as, soon as we had to go virtual, I invested in a great camera and it hasn't failed me yet. Every once in a while, I do stream for 12 hours and it'll blank out and I have to unplug it, plug it back in. But, you can't blame the camera for running 12 hours on a dummy battery.
Yeah, no kidding. And you said your background, is it virtual? You said it's virtual or it's actually the wall behind you? Oh, it's actually the wall behind you. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll give you a tip. It's not actually a wall, Michelle. It is actually fabric that a photographer would use in a backdrop for their photo shoots. So it's on one of those bars. And I have 3 different backdrops, depending if I'm doing a summit or whether I'm just playing around. And this is the one most people see. And then those are real, actual wooden things that I had laying around the house. And I hung them on fishing wire. And then I usually have a plant actually back there, but I took it down because I was doing some other video recording. So yeah. So awesome. Again, like $20, you guys, we're not talking a lot of money here to get your virtual setup looking pretty rocking.
Right.
I will say one thing about green screens, because that comes up a lot when I'm talking to folks. It's so fun because, Zoom has green screens. Skype even has green screens. I want to say this about your green screen. If you don't have good lighting, don't use a green screen because you're going to ghost. And then when you move, it's like your hand disappears, your head, your hair disappears. That is so distracting. I would rather see your backdrop probably, tape up a dollar store sheet behind you. Then I love the virtuals. I think they're amazing. I've done the beach behind me moving, but I have great lights. So like if you don't have good lights on your green screen or on your backdrop, be very careful because it's no fun when you're like going in and out and you're like disappearing. We call that ghosting. It's not fun.
No, and it doesn't seem to it doesn't look good for everybody. And I've also heard too, somebody told me when you're using one of those virtual screens, people, it's just distracting to the brain and the brain automatically goes to they think you're hiding something. And so that trust factor isn't there when you're especially when you're presenting or something. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard about that until recently. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, people fake it till they make it, right? So that's just another example. They could be sitting in a basement somewhere for, pretending to be something they're not. So that's a great point. But I mean, there are times when you travel or you're somewhere and there are times when your basement is your office and it's not attractive. But again, make the green screen look realistic. Make it look like, a little bit more like not that you're in California or whatever. Make it look like you're in an office. But just be careful, green screens. I don't use them unless I'm doing fun artistic video stuff. I prefer just to use a real background and it's actually cheaper. I mean, well, except if you're using the Zoom one where you can just hit a button and it disappears, but that's why it's not perfect either, guys.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't work so good.
Exactly.
I mean, I actually have a green screen and then even with the background from the Zoom things, they still don't work. I still ghost and it's just not, and I have,
and that is distracting. That is distracting. It really, really is. So, I mean, you can easily hang up a sheet or like I said, you can go get this, it's a photographer piece of fabric for $20 and it has different colors, go with black, go with white, whatever, and put it up behind you no matter where you are. It's very easy and inexpensive.
Yeah, those are great. I love it. Love it. And you've got a couple of them so you can change it up whenever you want, which is great. Yeah. So cool. So what have been your favorite new places to do online networking? I mean, have your groups have been online? Obviously, let's talk about where people can people outside of your community now join in your groups as well. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So that has been one of the best things about what's going on right now. So normally, if you didn't live in Maryland, right, and you didn't live near one of the 20 locations, you could not interact and network with our business owners, sales professionals, and entrepreneurs. But now we are doing weekly virtuals. So anybody from anywhere can join. And we are going to go back to in-person, but we're always now going to be hybrid. So yeah, people can come from anywhere and promote their business with us. And again, it's just a great way to meet new faces. But I'm also, we used to all be about networking. And since this has all happened, now we're also more about collaborations and joint ventures. So like the book we talked about, that was a joint venture, the one, the Guinness Book of World Records.
Can you show us that book? I can't believe that was
my gosh, yes.
A world record book on entrepreneurship. I think that's amazing. Look how big that thing is.
Yeah, so 150 of us got together and we all wrote a chapter on one habit that can change your business, right? Make you successful. And then we also added one unhabit. So something you have to unlearn so that you can be successful. And again, the book isn't meant to be read from start to finish. It's pick a chapter, read it. If it resonates, implement. If it doesn't, go on to the next one. But it's really, really fun. It can be found on Amazon. It is an Amazon bestseller. And it was really fun, though. I would have never met Forbes Riley if I had not done a Passionpreneur Summit, which is something I became an expert at, virtual summits. I met her and she invited me into that group, that collaboration, that joint venture. And again, there are definitely advantages to going virtually because now you're not geographically stuck, right? And that's what's the best thing about it is now I know people all over the world thanks to being able to network virtually.
Absolutely. I hear to that. I can say that for my business too, is actually like really helped me grow my business, especially living in like an off the grid, like location, like I do, like really rural, like the struggle to go into town to network. I'm like, this was not going to bother doing that. And so actually this online networking stuff now has been amazing. I love it because now I can talk to you. We met, you're all the way in Maryland. We went to cross paths at the grocery store. So that is awesome. So I love that there's been more and more opportunities popping up for networking online, which has been amazing. And now there's been some other opportunities in your business for growth as well, since that you were one of the first quick early adopters to like starting to do online events. So tell us a little bit about how your business has kind of evolved this year.
Absolutely. So normally we would put on a big business summit here in Baltimore once a year, and it was supposed to be in October. And of course, we knew that's not going to happen because things aren't ready yet. So I decided to do a Passionpreneur Summit. So helping you take your passions and turn them into profits, kind of a broad topic, but it was in August. So it was very early on still. People were not doing a lot of online summits and conferences. And I took my knowledge and my skills, and I ended up with 34 speakers from around the world. So we had stuff from Australia, from the UK, from Canada, from Jamaica, from the Philippines, and the United States, and Canada. I think I said that. So they were all in there. And I ended up getting a reputation like, hey, she's really good at this. Like her visuals were awesome. Her interviews were awesome. Her quality was awesome. So now I have been procured by different companies to put on different types of virtual experiences, we call them, right? Because it's an experience. So whether it's a summit like that, where you have a bunch of speakers, I've also done a fundraiser for like a suicide prevention group where they wanted to have all the doctors in a room and different resources where people could bounce around inside of the group. I've done conferences. I've done one day. I've done multi-day. I'm putting on a huge outdoor virtual expo in February. And I know nothing about archery, fishing, or all that stuff, but I know the tech. So I can help them get the vendors onboarded, get the experience set up so that when people come to the event, it feels like a real experience. And people like that, right? Because we all miss that human interaction, walking to booths or showing up at a conference where you see your friends once a year. We miss that. So we can still get that kind of, we really can.
That's cool. Are there some tips for, if you're thinking about running an event online to make that realistic kind of like a great experience for someone? Are there some tips that you can give us, some things that you should do or maybe things to not do?
Well, number one is you need to figure out what kind of experience you want, because there are several different platforms out there. And so I tailor my clients to the experience they're trying to get. Is it just, I did a 4-hour training for the accountants who had to get continuing ed. So that was one kind of experience. It was more just, here's the material. you guys have to watch this, boom, right? And it wasn't done. And I don't use Zoom and I don't use Facebook. So it's not that those kind of things. These experiences are totally different platforms. So mainly figuring out what kind of experience you want. And then, is it a 1 day, 3 day, 5 day? Because again, some of this platforms lend itself a little easier to longer events than others. And then just start early. I think the biggest thing is people think you can turn it around in 2 weeks. And with tech, there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes. So you just need to start as early as you can. But I pulled off my summit with 1,200 attendees and 34 presenters in 30 days. But I know what I'm doing. I have the connections. You know what I mean? So I was able to whip that right around. But for somebody else, it might not be that easy if you're trying to do it on your own.
Right. And therefore they can hire you to help them do it.
Exactly. That's awesome. What I'm here for.
It's also created another revenue stream for your business, right? It's awesome. That's really
great.
Like
I said, I didn't know I was great at the things that you learn, from experiences, right? There's always a silver lining. I did not realize that I was really good at that until I put an all-day event for somebody and they were like, you just blew us away. And I was like, okay. And then people, like I said, now I'm getting referred people. So yeah, it's a whole new revenue stream, but I really love it. As I said, I'm a passionate person. And if I can help you create something that your members or, your clients and customers are going to just love, then that makes me happy.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And, the quality of I've seen now that there's been a lot of summits, a lot of online events, a lot of people have taken their live events and put them online. And there's been, to be honest, some really crappy ones. So I think people can recognize now that good quality one, like you're saying, you're putting it on and it's like, oh yeah, this is what it should be like. This is what you should be seeing. Right. And I think that's great. Oh my goodness. So Blaney, what's coming up for 2021 for you? What are you looking forward to as we head into this year?
Well, I'm really excited because, as you mentioned early on, the networking group in Maryland that I started, Maryland Business Connection, we've rebranded and we haven't officially launched it, but I'm putting it out there to the universe because we are expanding nationally. So it is now MBX Events, but now it's Making Business Connections because we now can't call it Maryland if we're going to be in other states. That just doesn't work logistically. So I have a brand new website in the works and that's super exciting. I'm actually bringing on area leaders. So if anybody that's listening is, in the United States or even Canada or anywhere and wants to kind of be a part of my organization, I am actually hiring area connectors. So that's exciting. Bringing on some help because I can't be traveling and going to all the events outside of Maryland like I can in Maryland. And then you mentioned my book. I have a brand new book. It's called The Lunch Date: Why Skipping Lunch is Hazardous to Your Wealth. It's 8 ways to get more leads and referrals. And of course, I'm going to be talking about networking, collaborations, and joint ventures. So I'm going to be sharing with folks some great ways to really leverage those connections that you have and those connections that you have. So it's been really exciting. So that's where my focus is right now, is helping get that the new version of MBX launched as soon as I can, where our hands are tied just a little bit because we are in person. So until the stuff lifts and we can get back into hosting our events in restaurants, we have to continue virtually, but it's great. This has given me time to kind of get all the behind the scenes stuff lined up. So, it's been a little bit of a blessing for me.
Absolutely. Sounds like it's been a great year and a fun year coming up as your business expands nationally. You're getting into so many more places, and so many more people are going to be able to join your network, which is awesome. Speaking of which, where can they join and where can they take a look at where it is? I know you mentioned the website is still in the works. Is there somewhere else they can connect with you? Yeah, we have our old website still up. We haven't taken it down. So it'll be the same domain name. So it's mbxevents.com. mbxevents.com. And that has all the information. Our virtual events are on there. You can come join us now. We have a great charter membership as we're relaunching, but the whole look's going to look different. It's going to feel a little different when I've seen the almost finalized version of the new one. And it's amazing when you finally find someone who gets you. And the new website is totally me. And I'm really excited about that. It's going to just exude my passion, my energy, and really just attract the right people into our organization. I love it. And as you can see, teal is also my favorite color. That's why we get along so good. I love it. Yeah. So Blaney, before we let you go, our audience are, podcasters are thinking about podcasting. They're always looking for guests. They're always looking to, expand their network. What are some advices for people that are maybe haven't started the whole networking online thing yet? What are some things that people can, a couple steps people can take to get started?
Absolutely. And you say, if you're looking to be on a podcast or you're looking for guest interview on a podcast, networking is amazing. Because how do you think I filled the 34 speaker spots, right, in my Passionpreneur Summit? I did that because of my connections, right? It was very, very easy. So find networking organizations or groups where people like your avatar or like your customer or like your guests hang out. And then it's really as simple as saying, hey, I'm looking for some guests to interview. If you're interested, apply, or however you go through your process of vetting your speakers. But you'll meet a ton of people networking, and then I literally could do a podcast and have somebody on every single day because I have that many connections, right? I mean, I really could. And, not all of them are appropriate for my business, but I know that many people. So start growing your business, but hang out where people that you serve hang out, right? People and you'll start meeting other people that are like-minded that'll be perfect for guests or for watchers, viewers.
Yeah, I love that. So many great opportunities right now. Well, Blaney, thank you so, so much for spending the time with us this afternoon. It's been great to have you on, and I look forward to hearing more about your adventures. And you guys, if you're out there, Amplify You family, looking at doing an online event, reach out to Blaney. If you want to do some more online networking, reach out to her, join her organization. She attracts amazing people, right? Amazing people attract amazing people, like we all know. So make sure you reach out to Blaney. Blaney, where else can we connect with you?
So I'm very easy to find on LinkedIn. Blaney Teal, the only one out there. Just put my name in there. You'll find me. That's probably one of the best ways to reach me because I've already reached my 5,000 Facebook limit and I don't have time to clean it up. So LinkedIn's a better place to find me over there. And then mbxevents.com has all my information. You can reach me, my phone, that work phone, email, all that's there.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. It's been so great to have you. And Amplify You family out there, if you're listening, don't forget too that we also have a Podcaster Connect and Collaborate call, which happens twice a month, every other Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join into our Facebook group, My Podcast Coach, and you can find out the details there, where you can also find some guests and find some other people to collaborate with on your show too. So until next time, guys, have a great week.